So are you guys excited? How about over here? You guys excited? Awesome. Who's going to take the best notes today? Who's going to implement the most when they get home? Who's going to use their cell phone and have me get upset? Aha! You guys are paying attention. So what I'd like you to do, get up on your feet. Let's get the energy up. Let's get ready to have a day that can truly change every aspect of your business if you let it. Let's begin to prepare your mind to build a bigger team than you ever have before. Let's prepare your mind to receive information that Dave Wood has never taught in this manner ever. And let's get excited. So everyone, please help me welcome to the stage this morning, Mr. Dave Wood. Good morning.
Morning.
Love you, man. Go get
Hey,
it.
love you too. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming. So these events are just different, and today's going to be a little bit different. And for a minute, I'm going to talk about what that is, okay? Because we're going to cover a lot today. And the things that we're going to cover today are there to help you build teams. Okay, you guys can sit down, by the way. You have permission. No, actually, you just have to stand up the whole day. At a break, we're going to shave your head, and if you stand there the whole time, I'll give you the private coaching as long as you don't pass out. Right? I like that movie Fight Club. My favorite part of it is when they make people wait outside for 3 days and 3 nights without sleeping, eating, or drinking. And as long as they don't fall over, pass out, then they will train them, I think that's funny. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about team building, and what I'm going to be covering today is probably not what you think, okay? Because I'm not going to be talking about the internet versus offline. I'm going to be talking about strategies. I'm going to be talking about principles. I'm going to be talking about things that you can take and literally apply in any environment. And I've got a couple of goals on how I'm going to do that. I've got a couple of goals on how I want to help you think, okay? More importantly, though, before we start, I want you to understand what this is and what this isn't, okay? Because a lot of you don't get it. Who in here has ever built a team of 1,000 people in something? If you have, raise your hand. Okay, we got a couple of you. Recently, a few years ago, a long time ago, multiple times? 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, who else? Who else in here has built big teams? Who's had a team of more than 5,000 people? You do. Yeah, you do. You do, Lawrence. Yeah. Who in here has had a team of more than 10,000 people? Anybody? Okay. Who in here has had a team of more than 50, 100? Who in here has recruited a lot of people, but they've never duplicated? Who in here has experience like that? Like you're recruiting, you're building an organization, and your team won't duplicate. You've had that happen? You've had that happen? A lot of times? Yeah, that's you, just so you know. I used to do that too. Who in here has had a team build, and then you've had it fall apart? Like it's not just falling apart a little, it's completely fallen apart. Like it's just fallen to pieces. You guys had that happen before? Right? Okay. Interesting. Who in here has had people in your team who are working really, 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 really hard and getting no results at all? Okay? Like no results. They're not making a sale, and they're actually working. They're actually listening to you, right? They're actually listening. Like you call them, you tell them what to do, they call you, they're frustrated, they're crying at night, You tell them to do something, they do it. They get no results at all, right? You've had that happen? Now, who in here has had a leader leave your team? Big leader, right? Like a big one. Like it's like, I got a leader, I'm excited, he's like 50% of my check, and then he goes. You're like, dang it. And then you're angry for like a year, right? Bitter about everything because the leader left and he was producing all of your income. So we've had a lot of myriad of experiences here, and some of you guys, you haven't really learned to produce yet. And so a lot of the stuff, if you haven't learned to sponsor people yet, is sort of unapplicable until you're sponsoring people. But the second you're sponsoring people, the second you're producing, you want to know this stuff. And the reason is because if you don't, you're going to run into all kinds of traps. You're going to sponsor and nobody's going to duplicate. You're going to duplicate, but you're not going to develop leaders. You're going to develop leaders, but then they're going to leave because you're irritating, right? All sorts of things are going to happen if you don't know how to work with organizations. Here's a big one. Who in here has started to duplicate an organization or started to grow a business, right? And then your time just immediately gets filled from the morning to the night with nonsense, right? Phone calls, set up my website, can you help me close my grandma? You know what I mean? I mean, everything you could literally imagine, but the life you dreamed. Because remember, you came here because you were dreaming something. You know, I was talking to people the other day, I was sitting around and we were talking about reasons people get in the business, right? And a lot of people, they're like, if you're not doing 100 calls a day, you're not moving on, right? I mean, what a thing to tell people. You know what I mean? I don't know about you, but when I went to my first meeting, part of the plan about living your dream was not in 2 to 5 years, you can be a telemarketer. You can do the same thing that people in the Philippines do. They get paid $4 and $5 an hour. If you really work hard and you really listen to me, your phone will blow up from the morning till the night, and you'll have radiation cancer in your ears. Right? Well, I remember my first company I got into, my upline, he told me that the way to build this thing was like wandering around and prospecting because I told him I didn't have a warm market. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you got to make a list of your family and friends, right? Invite them over. I said, well, I just, was a missionary, so all my friends are missionaries, and they can't join because they're not allowed. But if they were allowed, they're broke, right? And then all my family and friends are in Alaska or they're in college, and they're either not interested or broke, except for my one brother who lives right next to me. He's the only one, but he got me in. I was like, what do I do? Right? What do I do? And he said, well, you need a list of new family and friends, of course. Right? So what did I proceed to do? I was like, well, how do I do that? He said, well, you're just a missionary for 2 years. I mean, how'd you meet people there? I was like, well, I wandered around a lot, He said, well, you can do that here too. There's people everywhere. Walmart, Safeway, shopping malls, you know what I mean? Just go and meet people and build relationships, and then you'll have a new list. Now, that's about the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You know what I'm saying? Who in here has built actual relationships with people you've just randomly bumped into in shopping malls? You know what I mean? It's like you randomly, I've done it because I did it so much, you know what I mean? I've still got friends from like 10 years ago, that I met in a shopping mall. The first guy I got in my first company is still in that company, still buying $1,000 a month of random products, to fill his garage, right? He's still in that thing. I left and he's still in, and he won't talk to me anymore, But occasionally he sends me a message. He says, are you back in the business yet? And I say, no. And then he won't talk to me again for a year, But, like wandering around in shopping malls is going to make you money somehow. Or you're going to build relationships, or you're going to recruit people. You know what I mean? But this is the kind of thing that people do when you don't know what you're doing. Because even if you're doing it right, if you don't have good systems, what happens when somebody gets in 5 levels down, 1,000 miles away in a different country in a different language? They wander around in Walmart. They look around for prospects. They say, I'm going to go get my 5 people. And they just start wandering around hitting random people up. They call their family and friends and they just pitch them and pitch them and pitch them and pitch them, which, to my knowledge, never really worked with anybody's family and friends. You know what I mean? I mean, if I call my family just because of those 5 years, they're immediately nervous if they pick up the phone. You know what I mean? I've toned it down over the years, right? I remember this guy, Chris. We were in a company together in 2007, building offline, because I build offline and online. And, he was like, I don't have anybody to talk to. And I was like, dude, talk to your warm market. He's a realtor up in Alaska at the time. Now he's, making multiple 6 figures, but he's a realtor up in Alaska. I was like, dude, you're a realtor. Just talk to all your clients and stuff. Right? Like, that's professional. You know what I'm saying? Hey, call your clients and say, by the way, I know you bought a house from me and could refer me business in the future. But do I have a hot deal for you? That's called the anti-professional, right? So in any case, he wouldn't do that. So I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He just got this big ego or whatever. But really, he was just, nervous about having his income go to 0 and being laughed at every time he tried to sell a home. But in any case, so, I was like, well, I'm not hearing this excuse anymore. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go prospect together, right? And I dragged him over to a store in town, right? And I walked into the store, true story. And I walked up to like a cashier or something, and I said, "Excuse me, I want to talk to the manager." And he was about just blush red. I mean, it's amazing he's still around. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised he ever talked to me again after that day. So anyways, he's like, "You're kidding me. You're kidding me." I was like, "Dude, you got to stop having an ego about this stuff, man. I mean, this is not that big of a deal." You know what I mean? So the manager comes up like there's a problem, which is, of course, the only reason you ever ask for a manager, which is a sure way to get their attention. You just walk in and ask for them. They think there's a problem, so they come down, and then you pitch them the business. It's my secret. So the guy comes down, right? The guy comes down, and, I look at him and I say, "I'm expanding a business in town. Looking for some sharp people, and I know you're a manager here, but you keep your options open." And he just looked like he wanted to kill me just for a second. But what was more funny was watching the embarrassment on my buddy's face. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just looked like, the manager looked like he about to kill me, but my friend looked like he just wanted to die. You know what I'm saying? But this is the kind of thing people do. Like that would ever work. Let's walk around and pitch random people something totally random with no relationship at all, right? But if you're producing and you don't have good systems and you don't know how to grow an organization, this is what your team does. They do this dumb stuff, and you're not even aware of it because they're way outside your sphere of influence. If you're lucky and your team does go outside your sphere of influence because you don't know what you're doing, right? Most of you, in reality, you keep your team trapped like this. You know? You're like holding on to them. You won't let them outside your sphere of influence. You want to control them. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I want to do for a second, is I want you to think about why you actually got in this business, okay? Why you're actually here, and what you're actually here to do. Because I want you to remember that whenever you're here to do something specific, there's also things that you don't want. You know what I mean? Time freedom does not mean being on the phone all day and night. It doesn't, right? I want time freedom and financial independence. Therefore, I want my phone to blow up from 7 in the morning till 4 in the morning every day forever. If you build your business wrong, I promise that will happen until you burn out, quit, and go back working at Walmart or something, right? Where you were prospected for the first time. By me. No, I was joking. Right? What do you want and what don't you want? And that's my question. So what do you want? What are some things? We can shout some things out, right? And I'll repeat them since we're recording this. What do you want? What are some of the things you guys want in here? Huh? Retirement? What do you mean by retirement? What does that mean to you? Uh-huh. Hey, let's get some microphones and some people walking around. So she wants to be able to be home. You want to be able to be with your family. And to her, that's called retirement, right? But you may not actually want retirement. What you want is to be home, to be with your family, to quit your job, right? You realize those are two different things. Okay. So she wants to quit doing what she's doing for a living right now and replace it with something she could do from home. Right? Notice how I reframed that a little bit. Sometimes people say, "I want to retire," when in reality, retirement is really boring. You know what I mean? Anybody in here not worked for like 6 months at a time before? It's fun for a month. And then if you're like a normal person, you just get antsy. And that's why most people die a year after they retire. Right? Because if you're not serving people, if you don't have a purpose in your life, you just kind of start falling apart on the inside. Right? But she wants to be home. She wants to make money from home. She wants control in her life, right? You want to be with your family, be with your kids, quit her job. I can see pain in her face when she says job, you know what I mean? When I say job, I still get nervous, you know? Still to this day, I had so many of them, I can't help it. I'm jaded. I had like 25 by the time I was 22 or something like that. What are some other things that you guys want in here? Total freedom. And what does total freedom mean? Here, if you look in the microphone there.
Having all the money that I want to do anything I could possibly think of, including traveling around the world, helping my children, grandchildren, things like that. So that's what I see it, to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Listen to this. Now, that is tied to money all the time, right? Sometimes people say things like money doesn't buy you happiness. Well, I don't know about that, actually. Because if you can't do what you want, you don't feel that happy, right? Well, part of doing what you want is tied to what resources you have available. And what are some kinds of resources? We've got money resources. How much money you make, right? how much money you make. We've got time resources. Now, usually those two things don't go together, and that's the problem. Usually if you make lots of money, you've got no time ever, right? And that's how most people in this industry are. They get phone calls all day. Who was here in that circle when I showed you guys how many people call me a day last night? Did that blow your mind? Did it blow your mind when you were surprised by that? You think I was lying, didn't you? You know, until I showed you. I get like no phone calls. Jonathan calls me, right? My lady calls me. I might talk to Chris Rushlow every once in a while. I call Lawrence Tam one time a year. You know what I mean? I mean, we're talking I get no phone calls at all. I don't make phone calls either, you know? So if you can build a business where you actually have freedom, that's different than not having freedom. So when you're thinking about how am I building my business, you got to ask yourself, am I building this in a way that's going to get worse if it works? I'm going to teach you how to do that in a way that gets better as it works as we go through the day. But freedom, that's a big one. That's why people get in this. That's time and money together. The ability to buy what you want, the ability to travel where you want, the ability to do it when you want, the ability to be in control of your resources, the ability to stand up one day and say, you know what, I feel like taking a trip to South America. When I was 27 or 28 years old, I can't even remember, but it was in 2010, February time, I set myself free. Moved down to Costa Rica, into another country, lived in a little beach house for a while, and then decided it was too hot and lived up in the mountains. You know, I was like, I lived my dream living on the beach, and then I realized how hot it was when I was getting heat rashes all the time. I moved into the mountains close to the beach so I could still drive there within 5 minutes, and I've been living in another country. I don't even have to be in the United States. I don't have to be in that country either. I can literally live anywhere I want to live in the world. Now, you might want to travel to a different country, right? And sometimes you can get weird ideas about why I went down there. They're like, why'd you go down there? Are you trying to avoid taxes? You can't avoid taxes if you're American. Don't get real for a second. It's the government. You know what I'm saying? I live there because I want to. And that's it. What would you do if you could live where you want, if you could wake up when you want, if you could work when you want? What would you do? That's freedom. That's freedom. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. What else? What else do you guys want in here? Just shout it, and I'll repeat it.
I want my kids to have a vision.
He wants his kids to have a vision. What do you...
Man, my kids can't even watch TV. They can't watch cartoons.
Here, just go, give him a microphone here real quick. I need to remember that. You got to sprint faster, you know what I'm saying?
Right now, my kids can't watch TV, and they think I'm hurting them. I got a 13-year-old boy, I got an 8-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old daughter. Right now, they don't even know why they can't watch TV. They don't know why they can't watch cartoons. That's somebody else's vision. Right now, I'm still in the corporate world, certified.
So you want what then? You want your kids to be able to have a vision?
My kids to have a vision and not be trapped. The justice system broken. There's a lot of stuff going on. I love the way you talk. I can talk about the government and what's going on. I overstay in a situation. I want all our kids to understand because the way they raising them, it ain't right.
Okay, so you want your kids to be able to have a vision, to be able to do what they want to do in their life.
Exactly.
Then. All right, so to be able to do things for your kids, right? You know, I've got a son too, and I'm going to talk about that, some things that shifted my world a little bit recently, right? But that's a big deal, isn't it? You know, a lot of us, we have no money even for ourselves barely. You know what I'm saying? We can't even pay our own bills, and college keeps getting more expensive. Education keeps getting more expensive, right? Life keeps getting more expensive. The future keeps getting more uncertain. Job security keeps going down, right? These are the things that we want. Now let's talk about some of the things we don't want for a second here. What don't we want? Don't want a boss, right? Don't want to commute. You don't want to be driving around to meetings all the time, do you? Either. Truthfully? Now, isn't that the same as a commute? Sometimes we're like, I don't want to have a commute, and your tires are bald from driving around doing home meetings 7 nights a week, right? Who in here has done that before? Right? You guys have done it too. It's amazing that you've done that, right? It's like, I want freedom, so I'm going to drive around every night forever. You know what I mean? Now, there's nothing wrong with doing meetings. It's just you got to ask yourself, why did you get in the meeting that you got in at? Was it to do that? No. Right? And sometimes people say, oh, just do it for the next 300 to 500 years is really what it is, right? The 3 to 5 year plan equals the whatever I tell you to do next, you have to do forever. You understand that? That's true, isn't it, Lawrence? It is true, right? What about this one? What about organizational burnout? right? Who in here has gotten burnt out and quit a team? You just got burnt out. You were doing too many phone calls, doing too much prospecting, calling too many leads. You ran out of money from just spending and spending and spending on random leads and stuff. And you just got burnt out. You just quit. One time I was building the team up in Alaska. My team was finally starting to crank, and just when it started to explode, I just got burnt out. And my phone was blowing up all day and night. My downline, that was the only one really producing, just would call and call and call and call and call with prospects all through the day. And when I say all day, I'm talking about from 7 in the morning till 11:30 at night, right? And if she got a call in the middle of the night from another country, she'd call. Now, she was a good person, and I like this lady, but it was just all day my phone was blowing up. So you know what I did? I just turned it off. And I was like, screw this. And I stopped. Well, right around that time, here's what happened. She burned out. Her downline burned out. Their downline burned out. It's called burning through your group, right? So what we need to do is we need to teach you how to build a business while you have what you want, right? That make sense to everybody in here? Now, to do that, you've got to do it differently than what most people do. You can do it offline. You can do it online. Doesn't matter, because I'm going to teach you how to do all of it. That makes sense to everybody in here? All right, so let's talk about your goals here for a second. What I want you to do is I want you to set an outcome for what you're going to learn today. What are you here for, and what do you want to learn specifically from this training? If you're watching the recordings, what do you want to learn from the recordings? What are you here to really learn how to do? And I want you to get clear just for a second. And I want you to ask yourself, if you could learn one thing today, one thing that would completely change your business, completely change your life, what would that one thing be that would make it so this day was the most valuable day that you've ever had in your life financially? Because remember, whatever you are on the inside is what comes out on the outside, right? So what could you learn today? What could transform in your business today, right? That if you learn that thing, everything changes and everything becomes different. And I want you to just take a minute and think about that. Who in here has already got it? Right? Just shout it out. I'm going to repeat it. What do you got? Okay, so she wants a highly productive team that's not dependent on her prodding, her presence, and her input. And you can see some pain as she's saying that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to teach you how to do that today. What else do you guys want to learn how to do? He wants to get away from his phone. Are you getting a lot of phone calls? You do? You do? Okay, so he's getting a lot of phone calls, and how many phone calls do you get a day? 20 phone calls a day. 20. Huh? 20 phone calls a day. That's a lot of phone calls, isn't it, Lawrence? Sometimes people are like, 20, that's not much. Oh, no. That's a lot of phone calls. That's all day of being on the phone, isn't it?
Because some of them, I'm with them a long time when they call. It's not like a phone call that I'm like only there 1 minute. I could be stuck sometimes for half an hour.
Because he could be stuck on the phone for a half an hour, right? Because he's on the phone with 20 people a day. How many of y'all know that's a lot of phone calls? All right, so I'm going to teach you how to do that. What else could you learn that would be the most valuable thing you could learn? What is it? Okay, you want to learn how to get 2 new people in your business on Tuesday. I will not be teaching that today because I taught that in the first seminar, okay? However, I'll teach you what to do with them when you get 2 in a day. All right, so those of you who have the product, that's in the Top Producer Formula, which I did in Seattle, okay?
Beautiful.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
All right, cool, cool. What else could I learn today? What else could you learn today that would be valuable? How to develop leaders on our team that never want to leave. Who in here wants to learn how to do that, right? Today I'm going to teach you how to do that. Who else? What else do you want to learn today? Okay, she wants to teach people, she wants to be able to show other people that this is an industry that's about service to others. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that, but probably a little different than you think. What else do you guys want to learn today?
How's it going? I'm Rob Gegner. I want to develop the posture of a leader to attract and inspire a group of creative future innovators to form a traveling mastermind to visit every theme park in the world.
Okay, cool, cool. I actually think that's a little bit weird, but I'll talk about that later. You know what I mean? Talk about that later. We'll talk about vision later and how to construct vision that attracts people, and that'll help. Okay? We'll give it to him real quick.
I've built some teams, and some of my teams have fallen apart. So my biggest thing that I would love to learn is how to keep the vision alive and keeping them moving forward, and having them produce leaders as well, and find creative ways to solve their own problems so that way they can keep moving through.
Okay, okay. So how to keep people together, how to keep the vision alive, and how to keep people moving forward.
Yes.
Did I miss something? That's good enough.
Yeah, that's
okay,
good enough.
so we'll teach you how to do that too. All right, so somebody over here has a microphone. You have somebody has a microphone over here? No? Somebody has a microphone over here? All right. She runs fast. Okay, so what can I do for you? What do you want today?
Sure. My name is Vashana Boric, and I want to learn how to duplicate my team better and how to scale up my business so that it's on autopilot.
Okay, have you had teams before that haven't duplicated?
Absolutely.
You have? So you've produced a lot and it hasn't duplicated.
That's right.
Super common, isn't it? Isn't this more common than duplication in teams? You know, they say get 5, get 5, get 5, and it's more like get 400, then they get 2, and they get 1, and they get 0. Is that how it is? It was like that for me for like years, so I understand how to solve that. So what else? One more from here, and then we'll go over here.
Larry McSween. My problem is that once I get a team together, they seem to fall apart like everybody else's. I want to know how.
What's the biggest team you've ever had?
Oh, probably 30. It's not huge.
Okay.
But,
Okay. So you
and
get a
that
team
wasn't
and they fall
within
apart.
that wasn't within this one. But
Okay. So what do you want to learn?
want to learn how to motivate them. Number one, and number two, how to keep it. How to keep the team together.
Okay.
Working as a team to help the rest of the team grow. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Teaching leaders to be leaders, I guess.
So you really want to you want to really keep your team around.
Right.
Okay, that's what you really want.
Yes.
Okay, I'll teach you how to do that. We'll go over here really quick, okay? And we'll go to this gentleman and then that lady right there.
Hi, my name is Barry Solomon, and I want to take somebody that's nobody, turn them into somebody that's somebody, and teach them how to get famous on their own.
Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do something similar to that, but you're going to be frustrated by your lack of your lack of ability to control who it is. Right there.
My name is Alicia, and I want to be able to become a better leader, to be able to bring my team up into empowerment, to be able to get what they want in life.
Okay, so you want to be able to help your team get what they want in life. Now, have you ever had a big team before?
No,
What's
I haven't.
the biggest team you've ever had?
I'm barely starting.
You're barely starting, so this is a good place to learn. So as you're getting a team, we'll teach you how to do that.
Exactly.
Starting with you.
Thank you.
All right, give her a hand. All right, so we got some outcomes, right? Now, here's what I want to do just for a second, okay? Just for a second is I want you to get that outcome just really clear in your mind, whatever it is. We have a lot more in the room, but probably they're related about what we talked about. The general frustrations in team building are the same things. They're the same things with everybody. And that's what I want you guys to learn, that when you get this stuff, you can take it and you can apply it at any time. Doesn't matter what technology is going on in any kind of a system, and it works all the time. Right? But what are the frustrations we're hearing from everyone? I get a team, but it doesn't duplicate. I've got a big organization, but my phone blows up all day. Right? People in my team, they're not producing at all. Or I've got like one producer out of 8 million people in my team, and that guy's really making a lot of money, but 0 other people are having any kind of success at all. Right? People are having a hard time constructing a vision that attracts people. It's the same stuff for everybody. If you look at the people around here, my team falls apart. This happens all the time to people where they say, hey, I built the team and it fall apart. I built the team and it fall apart. I built the team and I fall apart. And it was like, well, there's a pattern to this. You keep building teams that fall apart. So if you don't change something, you're going to continue to have it happen. What's something else that's really common? People just get consumed with stuff to do from people in their organizations. People are joining and they just demand everything from them. If that's happening, did you know that it's your fault and you're creating it? Because that does not happen to me at all, okay? And I have a larger organization than right now anybody in the room. There's some people sitting at that table back there that also got big teams, but my team is bigger, and that does not happen at all. You guys excited to learn how to do that? Now, here's what I want you to do just really quick. Take your outcome really quick, and I want you to just hold it in your mind. And I want you to think about today, this is what you're going to learn. And I want you to focus consciously on learning how to do that thing. Because if you're looking for it, you're a lot more likely to learn it. See, the problem is a lot of people, they kind of go through life and they go through trainings aimlessly. If you go through this training aimlessly, you're going to pick up tidbits here and there that aren't going to help you do anything. Okay? But if you go through today with the specific intention of just learning one thing that's going to help you, one thing that's going to change you, one thing that can transform your business, and you're looking for that information, I promise you it will be here today, because if I don't answer it directly, I'm going to answer it indirectly, or I'll answer it personally. But I want you to make sure that you're clear on what it is that you want. So let me ask you a question. Are you guys clear? Yes. You guys are clear? Yes. Okay, I want you to stay clear through the day as I'm talking, okay? And then we'll answer stuff that kind of comes up through the day. We're going to focus on team building. So let me tell you about my outcomes for today, okay? And what my goal is to teach you. Number one, my outcome is to show you how to grow an organization that expands beyond your sphere of influence. Beyond your sphere of influence, right? And what does that mean? It means that people are joining your team that you've never talked to, that you won't ever talk to, that don't know anybody that you know, okay? Most of you have a problem when you're building teams that it never can extend beyond your sphere of influence. You're always around everybody that's in your organization. How do I live in Costa Rica? I don't have to be around anybody, okay? So I'm going to show you how to grow a team that's beyond your sphere of influence. I'm going to show you how to grow a team that's beyond your ability to manage, right? Some people want to learn how to manage their whole organization. Good luck. You can't. What if there's 100,000 people in it? What if there's 1,000 people in it? What if there's 500 people in it? You can't manage an organization. I'm going to show you how to grow it beyond your ability to manage. More importantly, though, I'm going to show you how to grow it beyond your control, okay? Because you don't want to control your organization. Some of you, that might be the problem, right? Because you want to control it. You want to force them to produce. You want to force it to do a certain thing. You want to force it to grow a certain way. I want to show you how to grow it in a way that you can't control it. Because it's better, right? It's better. And it attracts better people when you don't control them too. But more importantly, I don't even want you to be able to. Because I want it to grow so far beyond you that if you try to control it, you can't, and you keep failing, right? And then I'll have to come back later and say, hey, stop that. Just let go. Let them go produce over there. It's fine. You know, they don't have to do it your way, right? Now, I'm also going to show you how to do it beyond what you currently have the capacity to imagine. Now, trust me, you can do this. And here's why. When I got started in my business, I was imagining one thing, okay? And that was in 2009. I accomplished that one thing that I was imagining, okay? What I achieve today is far beyond what I imagined when I first got in the industry. When I got in the industry, I wanted to make $250,000 a year. I dreamed every day of going diamond in that first company, putting audios in and just dreaming of making $250,000 a year, right? That's nothing. I don't even know why I was excited about that after I passed it. You know what I mean? It's like, gosh, this is small sauce. You know what I mean? Trust me, the dream will get bigger, and I'm going to show you how it'll fit together. But I'm also going to show you how to lead your team to that if they're willing to work for it. If they're willing to work for it. Right? Beyond your imagination. While you're maintaining your freedom. Okay? While you're not getting phone calls all day and night. Now, I'm not going to say, I am not going to stop you from talking on the phone because I think that's destructive. Especially if you're new. Right? What I want to avoid is the phone spiral. Your phone blowing up to cause it to blow up more. Okay? And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. So if you're on the phone, I'm going to teach you how to do it in a way that's manageable, doing what you should be doing on the phone, which is probably not what you're doing. That's probably the problem. Because nobody's ever taught you this, because what do they say in the industry? They say if you're not connecting with people, you're not building the business. If you're not taking 100 calls a day, you're not serious about your future. If you're not prospecting everybody you know, then you really don't care about them. You know, if they don't get in, they don't love you. You know, I mean, this is the kind of thing people tell you these things. I'm shooting spit everywhere, right? As I'm talking, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that, right? More importantly, in a way that really lines up with who you are. And I want you to think about who you are really quick, and I want you to think about what you really want to achieve, what directions it's aimed in, and I want you to be willing to challenge other things that you've been thinking and doing, and be willing to admit that some of the stuff that you've been doing isn't even in alignment with who you are. Right? You're just doing it to get money. You're just doing it because somebody told you to do it. You're just doing it because you think it's the right way. Right? You think it's the right way. So if we teach you how to do things within alignment with you, it's going to be within your ability. It's going to be within your ability to actually maintain an organization.
Folks, obviously the income examples discussed are extraordinary. The income claims presented are not intended to serve as a guarantee of income. Instead, they're designed to give you an idea of what's possible. Success in this business requires leadership, hard work, and dedication. Since we want to help you make an informed decision, we've gone above and beyond with our income disclosure document. If you want to see the average earnings, please visit the page at www.empowernetwork.com/income.php.